when I was going through my own therapy, which I've done consistently for years and years and years, but years ago when I was going through some of the more difficult things I had faced in my life and was processing them and trying to get healing from them in therapy, I remember I would do these like sometimes 2+ hour sessions focused around trauma healing and things like that. And those took a lot of energy and a lot of work. But I remember during that time, certain things that I didn't realize were holding me back, or certain things that I didn't realize had gotten into my system as much as they had. I think I knew it on paper, but seeing it on the outside wasn't maybe as obvious. And I remember starting to really feel those things loosen and change in me. And then I started to notice that gave me energy in life and different perspective and understanding to not only continue to do my own work, but also take risks and jump into other things that I felt like mattered to me. So that profound experience is maybe less of like a one spark of a moment kind of thing, but just a season where by engaging in my own trauma healing, that really did something for me on a very uh, noticeable level for myself. And so that even, I work with a lot of people across the spectrum of like where they're at in their journey. Some people have never done therapy before. Some people have done it a gazillion times, so I have all kinds of different experience of clients coming to me, but I really see therapy as an initiatory process, which means that the person coming in the door, whether that be a real door or imaginary door to enter into the space of a process with me through coaching or through therapy or whatever, is that they're coming in one way and they want to leave another way. And so a lot of the things that I start with people is trying to understand where they came from, where they're at, where they want to go, what things they understand about their own mind, their own body, their own heart, and their own soul, and begin to find a way to weave all those things together for them that makes sense to them based off of, again, what they're wrestling with or wanting to accomplish. And then finding ways from, different therapeutic perspectives or modalities or whatever to piece it together and make it make sense. I think a lot of people, we have a world where therapeutic language has become a lot more common, and people use words that are kind of diagnostic in some ways as just normal kind of terms now, which is really bizarre, because I definitely didn't grow up with that or even have that in my young adult life. But it seems to be now that you can see people talking about like, oh, well, that person's such a narcissist, or oh, I'm dealing with this, da 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 da, or even somebody might say something that like Carl Jung quoted, and you're like, it's so strange that there's all this language around. But the thing that I notice is even though there's language, there's not a deep understanding of what it actually means and why it means something and what you do with that as a person. And so that's again another big piece of the initiating process of this is really getting our bearings, understanding, learning, and then application. So a lot of my clients, all of them, whether they're brand new or older, I give a ton of homework. In my personal journey, like I said, I did this therapy thing I've done it for a while. And then I was also doing other, self-help and wellness types of things. And yoga was one of those things that really took a front and center place in my life. I think in life we have these experiences when we find something and we're like, oh, this is my thing. Maybe for someone it's snowboarding. They go snowboarding for the first time and they're like, oh my God, like this hits all the things and I'm firing on all cylinders. And I grew up doing all kinds of activities and I still do lots of activities, and have been invested in lots of different things. But when I did find yoga, something in my body and soul really resonated with that practice. And again, I was also engaging in it for the first time, really ever, in my early 20s as I was going through a pretty significant healing process. And so, the combination of the mindfulness, the breath work, the physical movement, which is really crucial for me as a person, as well as kind of the subtle at times and even sometimes overt at times spiritual overtones that come with different practices of yoga. It really was like finding a missing piece of something in my life. And then the more I've dove into that world and the more that I've invested in it, or I've shown up in the yoga community as a whole, the more I just continue to see that it's such a powerful thing. So, I started just doing yoga as a thing for myself to support me through, a healing process. Then I invested in yoga teacher trainings and further education. And, a few years back, actually probably a while now, pre-COVID, I got what's called a 500-hour yoga teacher certification, which is kind of one of the big ones for anyone who's serious about teaching and educating and the practice of yoga, whether it be in like a physical form or whether it be in a academic sense. And one of the things that I've focused on in that process of certification and education was yoga philosophy and yoga psychology, and that integrates into my work really well. It's also another piece that I engage with often. There's an organization I work with that has a publication that I contribute to regularly, presenting this amalgamation of psychology and yoga and, self-reflection and these different branches of the yogic system. And so that has been a huge part of my life. And it's something that, when it maybe fades out a little bit, I'm very much aware that, oh yeah, this is one of those things I want to get back